Good day, compatriots. It's a new year, and the events leading up to 1776 are growing more critical. Today, I'll discuss two very different petitions that were presented in January 1773, both of which addressed important issues in American history. At the end of 1772, the East India Company was nearing bankruptcy due to speculative banking practices in Europe and the massive amount they had spent to subjugate India. In addition, 18 million pounds of surplus tea sat in warehouses, and the East India Company wanted to sell it in the colonies. They therefore petitioned Parliament for relief in January 1773, and since most members of Parliament were shareholders, the company got what it wanted in the form of the 1773 Tea Act. Under the Act, which was designed to increase the East India Company's profitability to stockholders and to drive out colonial small businesses competing with the company, the East India Company received full and unlimited access to the tea trade in America and was exempt from paying taxes to Britain for tea exported to the American colonies. In short, the company held a monopoly on all the tea sold to American colonists and thus could lower its tea prices to undercut local importers as well as tea merchants and tea houses in America. Although tea prices actually went down in the colonies as a result, the Sons of Liberty were skeptical and considered it simply a trick to get the colonies to accept a tax levied by Parliament. This brought about a boycott of tea by the colonists, and at the end of this year, we'll talk about an event in Boston Harbor that showcased colonial displeasure with the Tea Act. The second petition struck at the heart of the independence desired by the Patriots in the colonies. On January 6, 1773, an enslaved black man named Felix petitioned Thomas Hutchinson, the governor of Massachusetts Bay Colony, for his freedom. Little is known of Felix, but his petition shows his visceral desire to pursue happiness. Quote, "We have no property," he wrote. "We have no wives, no children. We have no city, no country, but we have a Father in heaven, and we are determined, as far as his grace shall enable us, and as far as our degraded, contemptuous life will admit, to keep all his commandments." He welcomed the chance to contribute to society as a free man, discreet, sober, honest, and industrious, and simply desired to be treated as an equal, with all the rights and responsibilities of whites. He even swore to continue to willingly remain in slavery until God saw fit to release him through his divine influence on the legal system. Felix's missive, deferential and yet passionate, set a pattern for African Americans who sought freedom. They did it through direct appeals to the governor, the legislature, and the courts. It was Felix's petition, as well as several others that followed during the next few years, that were instrumental in Massachusetts being the first state to outlaw slavery just 10 years later in 1783. Thank you for listening. I hope everyone enjoyed it and maybe even learned something. I'll see you next month.